Hi guys, it's Ryan Bogdewic with Bogdewic Watches, and this is my YouTube channel. I'm watching you, where I take decent watches, modify them, make them better, and I'm in the process of creating my own watch brand. So in today's video is going to be the second half of the modification of the Pagani Design PD-1707. The first modification I did was the LUME modification, where I upgraded the LUME to my own personal LUME concoction that I have called Electric Green. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. So today's video is going to be the actual bracelet modification, and I'm going to be doing ceramic coating on the Pagani Design PD-1707. So let's flip the camera around and get to work.
Okay, this is the Pagani Design PD-1707, and this is going to be a very fun modification. I'm going to polish the bracelet shoulder to match the case. So the first thing I do is take the push pins out. This one's a little stuck, so I'm going to have to use my pliers to pull them out. And since I'll be working on the bracelet of this part of the modification, I'll just take the case and put it off to the side. So when I see video reviews of the shoulder of the bracelet not matching the case, I decided I'm going to step in and do something. I'm not going to modify the clasp, so I'll just take the clasp off and put it off to the side. So on the bracelet, before I start to work, I'm going to do a visual inspection on everything, see what I'm going to have to do, what I'm getting myself into. And then I'll put the bracelet side by side, check both sides. So I noticed a few scratches on the bracelet. Right here is one I pointed out. That's from the factory. I'm going to have to sand that out. And when I talked about the shoulder of the bracelet, this is what I'm talking about right here. I'm going to get that shoulder to match the polishing on the case. I've seen some modifications done on YouTube when they take the bracelet on a sandpaper and just move it back and forth like this, but I have a different method. So as you'll see, I'm beginning to polish the shoulder of the bracelet. You'll see my polishing bud starting to turn black. It's because I'm taking a micro layer of steel off, thus polishing it. And then I continue to check the consistency of my progress against the polishing of the case. So after I polished the shoulder of the bracelet, I got some parts on there that have to be sanded out, plus I'm going to take care of some of the inconsistencies from the quality control of the factory. And I find that it's always better to use a wet sanding paper than it is a dry sanding paper. It just gives better consistency. So after a wash and rinse, I'm going to check everything on the bracelet here. Like this part here, that scratch. I notice a few other blemishes that I'm going to have to also sand out as well. The quality control on this was okay, but I'm going to make it a lot better. So to give a really good brushed finish, I'm going to use my rubberized sanding block and put my wet sanding paper on that block. This is where my sanding method differs from other modifiers. What I'm going to do is going to take each individual link and each individual mid-link and sand them individually. So what I'm doing now is just going through with my magnified glasses and just looking at every link and mid-link and see how much sanding I'm actually going to have to do. So I'm going to get my 1000 grit sanding paper wet and just sand everything off camera. And after a thorough wash and dry, you could see now the polished shoulders and the brushed finish that I added to this bracelet. I gave it a nice consistent brushing and got rid of every single blemish in this bracelet. And now I think it pops. And now I'm going to get everything ready for ceramic coating. I'm going to use this paintbrush to apply it. I poured a little bit in here, and this is a ceramic coating that's made for glass and metal. Perfect for the watch itself and for the crystal. So now I'm beginning to apply it. I'm going to speed this process up, but I got every nook and cranny of this watch. This ceramic coating carries a 10H hardness on the hardness scale, which is equivalent to diamond. This is what's going to make the watch the bracelet, the crystal, everything proof, including scratch proof. Now sure, you're going to get fingerprints in it, but you'll see how easily the fingerprints will just wipe right away. And I'm going to make sure I do the clasp as well. And I'm just going to let it sit for a little bit to rainbow up while the solvents evaporate. Then I'm going to use a very plush microfiber towel to buff in the ceramic coating, not buff out. What this is doing is help spreading the ceramic coating on a more even basis. The plushness of the towel helps spread the ceramic coating everywhere, because after solvents evaporate, there's still oil left over with the ceramic coating. So what I'm doing with this plush towel is spreading everything with the oil evenly to help spread the actual ceramic itself. I wanted to point out a few quality control issues I found on this clasp. You're not going to find any of this on the Bogdewic watches because I'm going to polish every single millimeter to make sure that none of this is in here. Plus, I'm going to give everything a very, very thorough quality control inspection on every Bogdewic watch. Now this is the stage where I wait for the oils to actually harden up just a bit, so that way I can buff everything out with this buffing rag. And so I don't get crucified in the comments, I do want to make sure that I show you that I waited until this step to actually unscrew the pushers and the crown, as to avoid any solvents or oils getting on the gaskets. As I unscrewed both pushers and the crown, I use magnifying glasses when I'm using my buffing rag to buff away the oil, leaving the ceramic coating behind. And of course, I'm doing the whole process with my vinyl gloves, as to avoid any fingerprints getting in the ceramic coating, because the last thing you want is cured fingerprints in the ceramic coating. It's virtually impossible with this 10-inch hardness ceramic coating to get out. And then I thought it was a perfect fit to actually use the PAGANI Design microfiber rag to actually just do a final polish on everything. The ceramic coating needs a full 24 hours to cure after this point, but I'm going to polish everything out just to make sure that everything's flush, even and evenly polished to give a nice pop in this watch. So now I want to give you some glamour shots. Look at that, how that pops. The shoulders of the bracelet match the consistency of the polished edges of the case. The brushed finish of the bracelet got rid of all the blemishes in the bracelet, and even the clasp pops. So here's the finished product. You'll see that the shoulders of the bracelet match the polishing of the case. And the ceramic coating not only makes the watch pop, but also protects it from everything. And last but not least, I just want to give you a quick wrist roll shot.
So there it is, the PAGANI Design PD-1707, finally fully finished, fully done, fully modified. Everything I said I was going to do in the PAGANI Design PD-1707 unboxing, quick review, and mod plans that I had for this. If you haven't seen that video, I put a link to that video in the description of this video. So proud of the work I did on this watch. I'm actually going to sell this watch. I'm going to put a price of this watch fully modded in the description of this video. And if you have a PAGANI Design PD-1707 that you want these modifications done, I'll put a price breakdown of what I can do for your watch in the description of this video. Again, like I said, I'm an aspiring philanthropist, and 35% of what I earn in selling this watch is going to go towards helping the homeless. I'm here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We have a very, very big homeless problem here. There's a lot of homeless people, and I want to just try to help out as much as I possibly can. I'm not going to be donating any money, donating charity. I'm actually going to be taking the money that I use for that to actually buy homeless people some food, maybe a hotel room for a couple nights, or to a full week, depending on how many modifications I sell and how how many of these watches I can modify and sell. But your purchases of these watches, of these modifications of these watches, will certainly help with that and help my vision of the philanthropy that I want to do, helping the homeless. The remaining 65% of the money raised and earned from this is going to go into Bogdewic watches. It's going to go towards milling machines. It's going to go towards computers. It's going to go towards the actual material I'm going to need to actually build cases and build a whole bunch of different components and stuff like that towards making Bogdewic watches fully in-house. I do plan on going full in-house with Bogdewic watches, but for the time being, I'm getting my watch parts outsourced. So I do want to make sure that I get everything inside, in-house, make full Bogdewic watches. So anyway, that was my video for today. The PAGANI Design PD-1707, fully done. And I thank you for your views. I thank you for your comments and for your likes. And I would urge you to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video if you know anybody that would be interested in the modifications I did or even buying this watch. So anyway, I'm Ryan Bogdewic with Bogdewic Watches, and this is my YouTube channel. I'm watching you.